Hey guys, what's up? This punk guy here. Thanks for joining me on my review channel. I'm very excited about this band, Smoke or Fire.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time.
Yeah, I know, I haven't heard about them in forever, and I was really surprised when I saw that they were coming out with a new album, so I definitely had to get this album and review it. So before we even get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe to me on this channel, add me on Instagram at ThisPunkGuy, and you want to see more reviews like this, they will be coming out more steadily, so don't forget, hit that bell notification for any time you want to see a new review by me. Let's get right into it. If you guys don't know who Smoke or Fire is, they are a band that I used to listen to a lot on Fat Records back in the early 2000s. I've seen them so many times, open for so many good bands. But here's their fourth full-length album, Beauty Fades. Here's the front, here's the back. This was released on Iodine Records. And technically, even though this is a new release, this isn't a new music. So we'll get right into that. Yeah, so these guys are from Boston, Massachusetts. And it's been since 2010, the Speakeasy, since their last album came out, so I'm really excited to jump right into this. I do say, I really do love that cover. The graphic is really awesome. It's got, you know, an almost American traditional style, you know, with the anchor and stuff like that. It's a really just cool graphic, so kudos to that. Shout out to the people that made this album. It's something if I saw on the record store, I would definitely pick up. So like I said, I used to see them back in my 20s all the time. They were always on every Fat Records tour. And, you know, they were a band that I wasn't super into, but I did like watching them play live. They were a good band. So when I was scrolling through Instagram randomly and I saw that they were coming out with a new album, I had to pick this up. Now, it's really hard to describe the sound of this band, or at least give them a category, I guess, because they're not a pop-punk band, and they're not a skate-punk band, but they were on Fat Records, and I actually went and looked this up. They are considered what is called Heartland pop punk, which makes kind of sense, you know, is in the vein of Gaslight Anthem or the Flatliners. If any of you guys have seen my Descendants review, this is kind of the same deal. This is a bunch of unreleased music, or at least hard to find re-recorded songs that were kind of put out during like the whole COVID era when everyone was kind of staying in and not going anywhere, and this album was kind of just put together and released into the wild. I think I have much more appreciation for Joe's songwriting now, especially considering these songs were written almost 20 years ago with the original band name Jericho. So sonically, this album really does lie kind of in that mid-tempo range. It never really goes too fast. There's no real super slow songs. The guitars are very heavily fuzzed, and there's no real crazy guitar solos or any kind of really crazy guitar finger picking or anything, you know, really that makes the guitar stand out. It's very straightforward, and I understand that's why the word Heartland, you know, kind of that, what is that guy's name? Bruce Springsteen type of singer-songwriter type of punk rock. It does have a few awkward tempo changes, which I'll just contribute it to them being a fairly new band at the time. In another full honesty moment right now, as a teenager, I was definitely not into the style of punk. It did not connect with me in any way. I think it just wasn't fast enough, aggressive enough for me. But as I get older, I become a bigger fan of this style of punk. I can really appreciate it. And I don't want to call it simplistic. It's more straightforward style of music, more heavily relying on the lyrics. So let's get right into the tracks. And the first track I really want to talk about is 50 Cent Heart. This is the first track that really got stuck in my head when I heard this album. My favorite part about this track is definitely the long bridge at the end. You know, it goes into this cool like little guitar picking style, and then it just kind of has this like really cool build up to this like super awesome asthmatic ending, and it just really rounds out this song perfectly. I love the way this song ends. Knowing that this track was written over 20 years ago and what was going on in the political realm with post 9/11 going into the war. Tone for me, it kind of gives me like these flashbacks of my early 20s and reliving everything and all the corruption that was going on during the Bush administration at that time. The next track I want to talk about is Second Wind, and the thing I like about this track is it puts two and two things together that when you look at them separately, you're like, okay, that makes sense, but when you put them together, you're like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Explain what I'm talking about. On the sleeve of the LP, if I could pull it out, Joe McMahon, the singer, talks about a story about how the band was offered a really big deal from a big-time label, but instead they chose to rough it out and go the hard way and earn their stripes like they did, like all the other bands did that they knew growing up, and how it actually made them a better band doing that and how he appreciated, doing it the hard way. And that's what this song pretty much is about. Music will always come first before the money and how much money they could have made, but they chose to work on themselves and be a better band and make better music and make music for themselves and not for other people. And you just really have to commend a band that's willing to do that. I mean, I have much respect for Smoke or Fire for that little story. So in conclusion, I think I like this album a lot more than I expected it to. Like I said, the previous Smoke or Fire albums, I was like, they're like, okay, there's a couple of tracks that I really like, the Patty Hearst Syndrome and stuff like that. But I gotta say, I like this album a lot. To pick a nitpick on here, I will definitely say that this album is kind of long. There are only 13 tracks, but at the 10th track, I pretty much start to tap out. So Joe's voice can be a little hard to understand at times. The graveliness of it, sometimes I have to actually go and look into the liners to see what he's saying. But all in all, I think this is a really good, more of a mellow album to listen to. This is an album you listen to while you're winding down as opposed to gearing up. I'm gonna go ahead and give this album a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know how many times I'll probably listen to this album like after I do this review, but I'll probably put 1 or 2 tracks onto my playlist, just, because like I said, I do like it. It's just not something that I don't know if I would listen to all the time, but I do think it's a very strong album. It's gratifying to know that when you want to listen to some punk rock, it doesn't always have to be like fucking Black Flag, balls to the wall. So thanks for watching that review. I know it's probably a really short one. I didn't really have a whole lot to say about this album other than I liked it. I liked the songwriting. There isn't really anything to do with, like the musical composition, like I said, or anything technical to really talk about. It was just a good, heartwarming album to listen to. Something that makes me appreciate the band Smoke or Fire and what they did coming up as a band more. So if you like this review, let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, don't forget to add me on Instagram at thispunkguy. I don't know if I even said that in the beginning or not. But feel free to follow me on my reviews, and I got some more coming up. So like always, guys, I'll see you at a show! Now, I don't know why I always choose to jinx myself in saying it's going to be a short album review, because it never is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this album. Don't forget to check out another album review, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.